In this video, I just wanted to go over the WeBWorK homework system that I'm going to be implementing in this course. It may be a little bit different if you've had WeBWorK here at MSU than what you're used to. So there's going to be two types of sets. There are the learning sets, and again, the big thing here is that this is your opportunity to really learn and master the material. I found, throughout my math courses, that really when I start to get the stuff is when I actually put pen to paper or pencil to paper, right, and I'm actually trying things out. I'm trying to figure out how do I use the definitions, how do I use the theorems, things like that. So that's kind of the first use for really all of the homework sets, is to help you learn the material. So as it mentions in this paragraph, right, these typically have a variety of level of difficulty, right? These are not worth points. Again, they're solely to help you learn the material. I have the WeBWorK, our WeBWorK right here, and you can see they're all labeled as learning. So learning, for instance, 5.2, that's the first section we're going to be going over. And if you go here and you click, we have a bunch of problems, right? You get unlimited attempts on all of them. They're not worth any points. Again, they're here to help you learn the material. So that's what these learning sets are all about. The second type of set is the assessing set, right? So that's kind of the other thing that homework tries to do, is tries to assess what is your current understanding on the material to help you study for quizzes, exams, things like that, kind of the more high stakes stuff. So that's what this other set's going to be about. Now these are actually worth points, right? Because they're trying to assess what you know. Now there's going to be fewer problems that are worth points, typically 2 or 3 problems. They are going to be timed, and I think that this is a really good thing to help you kind of practice for quizzes, for exams, kind of your other timed assessments. But I understand that since you're still kind of, just getting used to this stuff, right, that you may not be at 100% yet, so you're actually going to have some extra opportunities, to get, full credit here. So it's not just, like quizzes and exams, you take them once and you're done, sort of deal. Here you're actually going to get multiple attempts per submission, usually 2, and you're actually going to get multiple submissions. So let me just go ahead and show this to you, an example of one. So down here we have all the learning stuff, and then at the bottom right we have the assessing stuff. So here's the assessing 5.2 volumes test, right? So okay, first of all, normally, right, this will be open starting, right at the first day of class, so you can do this, but you do have to get at least 40% on the learning stuff. So you have to try the learning stuff before you go to the assessing ones, right? So I do want you to actually take a look at those, but once you score at least 40%, right, that's nowhere near 100. Once you try some of the learning stuff, if you feel like you're starting to get it, you can come over here and take it. So again, if you kind of hover over this, you have a 20-minute time limit on this one. So again, they are timed. I'm going to have 2 grading submissions per attempt, and I'm going to get 2 attempts. Right, so I can actually take this thing twice, and each time I take it, I'm going to get 2 grading submissions. So let me go ahead and click on this just to demonstrate here. So it's going to take a minute to load. You can see I got 2 problems, so they're a little bit different than the homework sets. I have 20-minute countdown timer over here, right? And so, okay, consider the solid S. We have some nice triangle cross sections. Perpendicular y-axis are squares, and let's say I did a bunch of computations, right? I have 20 minutes, and I get the answer 5, right? I got the volume was 5, and here I'm trying to find the volume of the solid obtained by rotating some region about, bounded by these curves about the line x equals 0. So let's suppose I did some other calculations and I got the answers 3, right? So I can go down here, and first of all, I can preview, right, and just make sure that, especially for complicated answers, right, for instance, if I had a pi or something like that, right, I could click preview and, and make sure that this is coming out the way that I think it is. So it's 5 pi, good. This one's 3, good. Right, you can also click on this right here and it'll actually show it to you live. So if you had something more complicated, 5 pi minus 1, it'll show you that. Oh, I thought it was 5 times pi minus 1. You can remember parentheses. So this is kind of a live, showing you the answers that you're entering. Okay, well, let's say I'm happy with my answers now, and I want to go ahead and click grade test. All right, so this is saying that I got 0 out of 10, right? So that was my first submission here. So on problem 1, this was incorrect. And on problem 2, this was incorrect. So it gives you the full grade, but you can notice that the time is still going here. So you have another opportunity to find your mistakes, right? Obviously I had mistakes in these ones. I can find my mistakes and regrade it, right? So that's the whole 2 grading submissions per attempt, right? I've already done 1 grading submission and I have 1 attempt remaining. So I can go ahead and do one more grading submission. So let's say I go ahead and I change things up. 5 times pi minus 3, and this one I think was 38 or something like this. And now when I go ahead and I hit grade test, I'm using my 2nd submission, and now that's it, right? It's all over, right? Unfortunately, I still got 0 out of 10, but you can see my time's not going anymore. I've used up all of my grading submissions, right? Time taken on the test was 2 minutes and change, right? So there was 20 minutes allowed, and this one is all set, right? All right, so if I go back to my homework sets, we can see, first of all, way at the very bottom, so past all this, right, so this is where I actually clicked on to actually take the assessing stuff. It actually keeps and allows you to view all of your previous tests. So you can see that I had some other ones that I was working on. But here's the one that I just did, right? So this is the 5.2 volumes. This is my first attempt, my first test on it, right? I got 0 out of 10, unfortunately, but it's completed, whatnot. And so if you're ever wondering, okay, what was on this? Maybe you're studying for a quiz, you're studying for exam, right? You can go back here and you can take a look. And now you should be able to show correct answers and whatnot as well. So you can kind of check and see, okay, what were the actual answers? Okay, so this first one, it was actually 1/3. And let's see, for this one, it was 64 times pi over 15. Okay, fair enough, right? Your numbers will most likely be a little bit different from this. So let's say, okay, I did pretty poorly on this one. Now I can go ahead, right, I'm going to get 2 attempts in total. So again, if I go down here and I hover, so I got the 2 grading submissions, but I also have 2 attempts, right? So I can take this one more time. I can generate a second test. Of course, the numbers may be different, things like that. But let's say, okay, I still need to work on some stuff. So you could go back here to the learning set, maybe do a few more problems, right? Learn the material a little bit better. And then we could go back and we could try the assessing stuff one more time. So if I go back to now take the assessing stuff, click on this, and it's going to generate a new one. Right? So now we can see problem 1's different than it was before, problem 2 is different than it was before, right? So now I have completely different problems, and I can go ahead and run through it again. So I'll go ahead and grade my test. That's going to be my first submission. All right, not so great. Maybe this is 67, maybe this is 52 after I do some more work. Hit grade test again. There we go. I used up all of my grading submissions, right? There was 2 allowed. And we can now see if I go back here all the way at the very bottom, we now have 2 of these, right? So I have test 1 and test 2. So I've used all of my attempts, right? I only had 2 attempts. So if I go here and I try to take it one more time, there we go. It says, sorry, but you don't have any more attempts left. So you're going to get 2 of them in total. Each one has 2 grading submissions. And so I know that was a little bit of a confusing statement, so I wanted to make this video to kind of showcase what exactly that means. The 2 grading attempts and, you know, the 2 submissions all overall. Okay. Again, really the power behind these assessment sets, right? This is helping you to practice for quizzes, for exams, kind of these more higher stake ones. Again, they're assessing your understanding, so you really shouldn't be using friends and tutors and stuff like this when you're doing them. You should also try to minimize the notes and the books because we don't get those on quizzes and exams, right? And again, you do need to actually do some of the learning sets, right? 40% in order to unlock and be able to complete the assessing sets. All right, so I'm excited about this, WeBWorK system. I hope that you enjoy it. Again, I'll be around. Send me an email or post on Piazza or anything like this if you have questions. All right, good luck.